Hey guys, I am excited. I have been writing four stories. Four stories. Scorched Earth. Um, Scorched Earth. The Tremors of Hand City. The New Jersey War. And, what's the other one? Um, oh, The Longest Night. Okay. Here's my four stories. Scorched Earth, The Longest Night, The Tremors of Hand City, and The Longest Night, Scorched Earth, The Tremors of Hand City, and the New Jersey War. Those are my four stories. Okay. I hit a writer's block. Sometimes it takes a long time to finish a story. And I have a lot of stories under my belt. Oh, if they all get published, it would be a huge volume. Okay. I have been writing since I was young. Oh boy. I have been writing stuff. I'm a creative person. I love creating. And with my imagination and my love of Twilight Zone and everything else. And, so when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I had like one or two stories. And as I grew older, other stories would come to mind. And then everything hit a stopping block when I lost all my files. All my files. All of them. And then, but I remember the titles, I remember the characters, I remember the situations, I remember the stories. So, first opportunity I had, I would open up my files. Okay, file for this story, that. I got them all set. Then came the hard task of rewriting from memory. Okay. And the funny thing is that as I rewrote the stories from memory, being older, more seasoned, more educated, I was able to take the stories and add some nudity to it, add some, I don't know what to call it, but I was able to round it out. I was able to take the stories and give them a little more contemporary oomph to it. And they came out to be the greatest things I've ever written. And then other ideas would come to mind, and others, and more and more. And before long, I came up with so many great stories. Well, recently I started with four stories. The Tremors of Hand City, The Longest Night, The New Jersey War, and Scorched Earth. And I let my best friend read a couple of them. And he said he and his wife read them both, read two of them, and said neither he nor his wife liked one of them. Because, as he said, it was almost metaphoric. It was a metaphoric story. But both he and his wife liked my other story a lot better. And And so, with 4 stories, I couldn't continue writing because I had trouble coming up with a way to continue it. See, I know a writer and filmmaker who said before putting together, he would map out the story, beginning, middle, and end. Or rather, beginning and end, and then write the middle. Okay. That's the way he did it. Okay. I come up with a scene. Because I remember I read an article or column from Ann Landers. And someone asked her about feelings or something like that. And Ann Landers advised, write it down. Don't worry about punctuation. Don't worry about grammar. If the message is in your mind, is in your head, write it down on paper. You could always throw it out later. And then when it came to writing, I applied it to writing as well. You come up with an idea, get it in writing, put it down. You can always edit later. And many a time, my stories go through so many drafts until it is in its final product, as it were, the final draft, yeah. So, and the way I write stories is probably the way other people may not. I come up with a scene, I write it down, and then as I read it and reread it and reread it, eventually I will come up with a scene that follows it. And then I add that scene or sequence to that. And I just keep adding and adding and adding and adding. I say, okay, where can I take this? And then eventually I come to, oh, I know how to take this. I know where it goes next. And I also remember, and I think this is also another influence, on Sesame Street, where Ernie would say, okay, what happens next? He would have a picture and would say to Bert, okay, Bert, what happens next? And Bert would say, okay, what would happen next? And I think Bert did the same thing with Ernie. So again, that was part of it too. So, with all of that going, I would come up with a scene, and after I'm done with the scene, I would say, what happens next? So in a way, I have a little Sesame Street reasoning with this also. Write a scene, say, okay, what happens next? And then I come up and I say, okay, what happens next is whatever it is. And that's the way I approach my writing. Okay. Write a scene like Ernie would say to Bert, what happens next? And then I think and think, I said, okay, I know what happens next, and I write that down. And I keep doing it and doing it and doing it until I have a complete story. What I think is most difficult is thinking, how do I end the story? My filmmaker friend says when he writes the beginning and the end already, and then he has to come up with the middle. With me, I do it differently. I write a scene, then what happens next after that, after that, after that, after that. What is difficult is coming up with the end. The end that would really solidify the I want to say finality. Is that the right word? Okay. Then it's final. Okay. That's where it is. That's where it ends. It doesn't go any further. And it could stand on like that. It could stand independently like that is what I mean. Okay. I have to say some are horrible ending twists, like poor Henry Bemis on the Twilight Zone when his glasses broke, okay? Some of my endings are like that, on the Twilight Zone. So some of my stories end that way. Most don't. Or I don't know how many do and how many don't. One of my stories ends like that. What Happened on Flight 13 ends that way. The kind of Henry Bemis with the broken glasses, he had all the time in the world to read, and now all of a sudden his glasses broke. And What Happens on Flight 13 kind of ends that way, with that kind of sad, tragic, ironic twist at the end. So anyway, so as this morning, okay, I was thinking about, so I was talking to my friend, and I said, I'm stuck with these stories, can you give me help? So, he's willing to look at it. So I went to looking at the stories, and I said, okay, let me take a look at Scorched Earth again, because I'm going to send it to him. And so I reread it, and I started from the beginning, and I started reading, and I just got to the end, the last scene I wrote, and I said, what am I going to do with this? Where am I going to take this? And then all of a sudden, the thought popped into my head. I know what to put in. I know what to say. And so I went to start to write it. So I'm writing this, and okay, this is good. And then that leads to a dialogue between my two main characters. And then logically and reasonably and understandably comes a line that would only fit there, okay? And try to stay in his character, because all my characters have different personalities, character traits, and so forth. So I had to keep everybody within character, and that's not hard to do. That's very easy to do, because I am creative stories, And when I was a kid, when I was a little boy, I would always come up with stories. And I would be making voices. Hey, Leaper! Yeah, what you want? Well, your truck is blocked my sidewalk, my driveway. Can you move it? Sure, baby. Honey, what's going on out there? Well, I'm sorry, I can't get out to go to work because he's blocked my driveway. No, don't worry, I'll take him in. He says, hey, what's going on out there? Well, he's moving his truck. Is it, wait a minute? So I'm always coming up with different characters and personalities. So I know how to keep everybody in character. So I thought, how can I have him say this while staying in character? And the problem is, I can't. It's impossible. So I'm thinking, I will try to approximate him saying this in his character. And I think I did the best I could. It made it, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like him. Are you sure that's him saying that? And I'm thinking, well, I can't think of any other way for him to say it in his character. And then all of a sudden, it's just like a wave of clarity. It was like, whoosh. And I'm like, I got it! I got it! The ending. The ending to the story. How to end the story. Oh, it's beautiful! And so I wrote it. And I said, oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. Oh, I love this. As I'm writing and writing, all of this is brilliant. And okay, that's it. Save. It's like, and I looked at it. I said, wow, this is brilliant. And I'm like, oh, that is brilliant. Oh, man, that's brilliant. So I am very, very proud of myself. And now I can lock that one up. That only leaves 3. Only leaves 3. That is The Longest Night, The New Jersey War, and The Tremor of Hand City. And those are the 3. Okay, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys later. Take care. See you soon. Bye.